Hey Miss Girl, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I've been waiting for this moment, okay? We're gonna kick off the channel with a little chat and hot cocoa glam. So if red and green holiday looks are a little intimidating for you, this is gonna be the look for you. We're gonna keep it neutral, we're gonna keep it wearable, but still a slay, obviously. Okay, before I start any makeup, I always have to do some skin prep. So I'm just gonna use this Laneige sleeping mask. Laneige? Girl, you know what I mean. Then before I go in with my actual skin prep, I always like to put on my eyebrow gel first. I always start by applying my eyebrow gel first so it doesn't mix with any of the oils or makeup on my skin. And I'm just using the ABH Brow Freeze. So once your brows look absolutely insane, you're gonna let them get completely tacky. We want them to be all the way dry before we brush them up. And while they dry, I'm gonna put on my skin prep. I'm using the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. Especially because it's wintertime right now, my skin gets so dry. Okay, so since it's my first video, you guys asked me a couple questions over on TikTok and Instagram. But first, I'm going in with this Merit Beauty complexion stick. If you have hyperpigmentation or like unevenness in your skin tone, this is my favorite thing to put on before I go into foundation. I'm just gonna take a concealer brush and blend her all in. Okay, I feel like we should get the basic facts out of the way. So my full name is Camille. I'm 24 years old. I'm not 24, I'm 23.
Damn.
My full name is actually Camille, it's not Cam. No one actually calls me that. But I'm 23 years old and I live in Philadelphia, but I'm actually from Los Angeles, California, born and raised. I've been in Philly for going on 4 years now, and I've been doing makeup for literally as long as I can remember, but I really started wearing like full glam looks when I was like a freshman in high school. So I was probably like 14. I would literally be late to school every day because I would be doing my makeup. Okay, now we're gonna start on the base. I'm gonna be mixing two foundations. My House Labs foundation. I know I'm not supposed to, but I literally just do a pump on my face, one on each side. Then I'll take my Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin. Oh, it's the Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder. And I'm in the shade 8. And I just get a little bit on my brush, and then I'll just blend out my foundation with the powder. I like using the Danessa Myricks and the House Labs together because I'm a full coverage girly through and through, but I don't like looking cakey and I don't like feeling a bunch of heavy makeup on my skin. I just keep going back to this combo. Another one of my most asked questions is how I get my under eye so smooth. But before I do any concealer, I like to do my bronzer. This is the NARS Laguna 4 bronzing cream. If I had to choose one cream bronzer to use for the rest of my life, it would be this one. I love that it's not too red and it's not too cool because a lot of bronzers can look just a mess on darker skin. So I like to focus this all on the perimeters of my face. So from my cheekbones to the top of my forehead, and also just a little bit on the jaw, just a little bit, keep it cute. I also like to take my bronzer brush and run it along the sides of my nose, just for a very like natural nose contour. I don't like to do anything crazy because I think I look insane with nose contour. Just like to kind of lightly run it through the crease. Now for my under eye routine, first I'm gonna take my favorite concealer at the moment. This is the Hourglass Vanish Concealer in the shade Maple. And I'm just gonna place it directly on my under eye. I think the key to a flawless under eye really is you can't be afraid to put the concealer on. Put it on, girl. It's not gonna bite, I promise. I like to put a little bit kind of going upwards at the corners of my eye to give me a little lift. And because this concealer is not that much brighter than my skin tone, I also have like to put a little bit on the jaw to clean up the bronzer. And what I like to do is let my concealer set down for like a minute or two, depending on the formula. Since this one is a little bit of a thicker consistency and it gets a little bit dry under my under eyes, I don't like to wait too long. But while this is happening, we're gonna do some cream blush. And because today's look is pretty warm, I'm gonna use obviously more warm toned. I'm gonna take the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Blush Stick in the shade Pomegranate. You can see it's very pigmented. And then I'm gonna mix that with my e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush in the shade Gorge Orange. I don't even need to swatch it, you can see how orange it is. but I like to do a little ombre moment, so I'm gonna do one dot of orange, maybe two, giving 2 dots. And then I'm gonna take my Makeup by Mario stick. I'm gonna put some a little bit higher on my cheekbones, like that. Just a little bit here, and then I always do just like a little bit on my nose, just a little. I get some questions about this brush whenever I use it on my Instagram. This is the Makeup by Mario F4. It's a dual-ended brush, and I like to use the smaller end to blend out my cream blush. I'm gonna start with the darker shade first, and we're just gonna blend upwards into our temples, and I also do a little bit into my eye. Not for any reason in particular, I'm just annoying, I don't know. It looks cohesive that way. You can see this gives like a nice wash of color, but it's not anything crazy. I know blush can be kind of scary. Also, applying your blush before your concealer is really gonna help mellow it out once you blend the concealer into it, and you're not gonna have any harsh lines. It's just gonna look like you're blushing from within. Okay, and now that our concealer has been sitting for quite a while now, I'm just gonna drench my sponge in setting spray. Well, this is technically a fixing spray. This is my MAC Fix Plus. This is a little baby one, but instead of getting the sponge wet with just water, I like to use this because it really helps melt all of your products together. And please don't judge my sponge, okay? I'm just a girl. It's not that dirty. Now we're just gonna start blending our under eye. And I like to start at the edges first because I want the most pigment up in my inner corners. I like to have kind of a soft line right here. Nothing too crazy, just I feel like it makes me look like I have more makeup on. I don't know if that makes sense. Also just gonna blend out the little bit, excuse me. Philadelphia is so loud. Side note, just gonna blend out the little bit of concealer on my nose. It's kind of like a little reverse nose contour because I highlight my nose last. Another question that I get a lot is about my nose piercings. Someone asked me if I got both sides of my nose pierced at the same time, and the answer is absolutely not. That would hurt so bad. But I got my first nose piercing. I got the right side of my nose pierced first. I think I was 15, maybe I was 14. A lot happened once I got to high school, okay? But that's when I got my nose pierced. My other friend actually got her nose pierced first. I always talked about it to my mom, and one day we just showed up at a random piercing shop in Venice Beach, and I got my nose pierced. I felt like that girl, I'm not gonna lie to you. I got my second nose pierced when I was 19. I went to visit some of my friends in Arizona. They went to school there, and I just decided I want to get the other side of my nose pierced. Don't think about piercings too much because then I'll talk myself out of them. Same thing happened with my cartilage piercing. I went in to get this tattoo, and I came home with a piercing. And I never changed my jewelry either. I've had the same jewelry in since I've gotten it pierced. That's a lie. I just lied. I recently got them changed out to like 2 pink little studs, which I love. You can only tell that they're pink in like certain lighting, but I went to this place in LA called Body Envy to get my piercing. I think they're stainless steel or something, girl. I honestly forget that they're there most of the time. Okay, then I like to go in with another concealer. This is my NYX Cosmetics Bear With Me Concealer Serum. Underrated, nobody talks about this, but I like to go in with a shade of concealer that's like 4 shades brighter than my actual skin tone. I like to take a brush this time around and really focus my blending right here, because we don't want our entire face to be bright, right? We only want our under eye and mostly our inner corners to be the brightest. So I'm just gonna blend. Okay, what's some more life questions? Someone asked me, do I have any siblings? I do not. I'm an only child, and my mom is my best friend. If you guys don't know, y'all see her all over my Instagram and my TikTok. That is not for likes and views. We are very much like that in person. If you ever meet my mom and I, we are 2 peas in a pod. That's my girl for life. So yeah, it's just me and her. And my dog in Philadelphia. Oh, and after I finish blending out my concealer, I like to kind of marinate? I feel like the word I'm looking for is marry. To marry my blush and my concealer again by going in with the same cream blush brush. I kind of just pat over the line and a little bit into my under eye. It's a little pro tip. I'm pretty sure I saw Makeup by Ariel do this, so I'm doing it. And I feel like I need more blush. This is a personal thing, but I just feel like everyone looks better with more blush on. I haven't seen someone who doesn't look good with a lot of blush. So I'm gonna take this little baby orange blush. It's from Beauty Creations. This is in the shade pinch of peach. And what we're gonna do is add our blush right here, so close to the under eye. Now you're probably like a little scared. Just trust me. Trust me. It's gonna look amazing. And I'm gonna use my same blush brush and I'm gonna literally blend it into the under eye. You see what's going on right here? This is how you create that like really flawless transition from your under eye to your blush to your bronzer. You see how my cheekbones are kind of popping now? Tell me you don't see that. You see it. Now for the most important part, arguably, of the under eye, the setting powder. I don't play about my powders. My all-time favorite loose setting powder is my Laura Mercier Ultra Blur in the shade Translucent Honey. Everything about her is perfect. She's finely milled. She doesn't give me flashback. I love. But for today's look, since I really want to be warm and I want everything to look cohesive, I'm actually going to be using a peach powder. This is my Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in the shade Peach Pie. I always like to go in with a powder puff. This one is dirty. Mind your business. It's fine. And I like to take some into the cap like so. Make sure that you really load it up. And don't put it directly on your eye because it's going to look like a cakey mess. But I like to take some on the back of my hand or even sometimes on the palm of my hand just to work the powder into the puff so it's even. And before you put the powder on, make sure that you blend out any creases on your under eye. This, I think, is the key. I don't even look away. Like, as soon as I'm done blending out those creases, I'm patting my powder in. And you can see immediately the difference in the under eye, okay? I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And while I'm here, I also like to set the rest of my face. Basically everywhere that we put our concealer, I'm gonna set with a little bit of this peach powder. Okay, and as you can see, I like to leave a little bit of bake on my face, but I immediately wipe it off. I like to take my MAC Dark Deepest Mineralized Press Powder to use my Hourglass powder brush. I literally have like 3 of these. I like to kind of just dust away the peach powder. And I think this really helps with flashback because you're not just letting that really bright powder sit on your face. Going on my forehead, kind of my whole face. Now at this point, the brow should be fully dried down and I'm gonna start shaping them. I think my most asked question is how I do my eyebrows and how I get them to be perfect every time. And I'm gonna show you. So my Anastasia Brow Freeze is completely dry. And as you can see, my eyebrow hairs are like sticking directly to my forehead. That's what we want, okay? If my eyebrows are not laminated to my skull, I don't want it. That's why I like the Anastasia Brow Freeze. Oh my battery's dying. Yo, this YouTube channel mess, not even mess. So much more effort than turning on my little iPhone and posting my TikToks. Speaking of which, the TikTok ban, let's talk about it. Obviously, the majority of my following is on TikTok and I'm 99% sure that it's gonna be banned in like 6 weeks. I feel like we've heard this story a million times before, but I think they're actually gonna do it this time. One, because of the orange man in office or who's taking office. And 2, I just feel like most people who are in charge of the country right now don't understand the impact TikTok has had on everyone's lives, or maybe they do. Genuinely think that TikTok became a problem once the everyday American was given access to more information than the US government probably wanted them to have, learning about the way other people live in different countries. And it's opened my eyes to so many things that I think I would have been naive to. But I'm gonna be really sad when it gets banned. I wish that wasn't the case, but I hope my girls follow me onto YouTube, and I'll still be posting on Instagram, obviously. And I know there's like quite a few other apps that are like coming to the forefront. I think like Lemon8, which is like Pinterest kind of, A lot of people say that they're not going to switch over to Instagram because they just feel like it feels weird on there, which I completely understand. I feel like if I didn't do content creation, I would not be on Instagram. It feels very like weird on there. Like everyone is watching you, but no one is interacting. I don't know if it's just me, but okay, now that our eyebrows are filled in, I like to make sure I fill in mostly at the tail end of my brows and keep the front natural. I just take my spoolie. I'm just going to brush my eyebrow hairs over, and it takes a couple of tries sometimes. I don't love the soap brow look when people leave their eyebrow hairs standing like straight up. It's just not for me, so I like to kind of brush them into place like that. And now using my Morphe M421 brush, it's so old that it's like scratched off, and my Hourglass concealer, I'm going to clean up under my brow. This also kind of highlights the brow, but I don't like to do it on the top so I don't get like halo brows. But whenever I'm doing like a full glam look, I always conceal my brows. I feel like it makes the face look so much cleaner. I don't know how to explain it, but I just take a little bit of the concealer and literally just kind of like make a straight line and clean up the edges. Okay, before we put on any eyeshadow, I'm gonna go in with a concealer. I like to use one that's very bright. This is my Hourglass concealer, but in the shade Fawn. I'm just gonna apply this kind of as an eyeshadow primer. Applying your concealer like this is actually just gonna help your shadows pop more. And for the look we're doing, that's what we really want, especially if you're a brown skin girl like myself. Okay, now I'm gonna go into my Master Mattes Original palette from Makeup by Mario, and I'm gonna choose a transition shade, which is basically a shade that's gonna make it way easier for all of our other colors to blend seamlessly. I'm gonna go in with this shade here. I think this is Matte 1. And I'm just gonna start by popping that right along the crease. I'm not trying to make like a definitive line, so I'm using circular motions. Now I'm gonna go in with a deeper shade, the one right below it. Still on the same fluffy brush, something that looks kind of like this. Oh my gosh, I actually get to use the YouTube hand now. This is so fun. All right, I'm just gonna pop this in my crease just a bit lower than the shadow we just applied. And I always say that you should go with lighter colors before you dip into the deep colors. You can always make a look deeper, but you can't lighten it up. It's so difficult to do. Now I'm gonna switch to a much smaller fluffy brush like this. I'm gonna switch to my Not a Box of Chocolates palette from ColourPop. I'm not sure if they still sell this. If they don't, it is a travesty, okay? I love her down. I love her dearly. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the shade PB Brittle, which is this one here. Just a classic warm brown shade. I'm also going to dip just a little bit into the one right below it. Since this is a smaller brush, now I'm really going to be focusing on my crease and kind of my outer V. So I'm going to be much more precise. And if it looks a bit harsh at first, that is okay. That's what we want, because we're going to go back in and diffuse those colors out. Okay, so now that we have some depth built up in our crease, as you can see, I'm going to go in with that same concealer brush I used to blend out our primer. I'm literally just lightening up the inner corners, because when you're blending and putting all the dark chocolate shadows, it's gonna kind of get into that area, and we want it to be bare because that's where we're gonna put our glitter. But before we do that, I'm gonna lay down a matte eyeshadow just to set down this concealer. I'm using a powder puff. This is like the biggest hack. So many makeup artists do this and it gets that really flat, seamless look. We're actually gonna use this shade here, and as you can see, it applied so much shadow in such a small amount of time. I don't have to keep digging in with my brush. So we're gonna do the same thing on the other eye, and we're just gonna apply it on the innermost corner of our eye. We don't want to go too far into the brown. Ah, look at that, so gorge. Okay, now that we're here, we're gonna go back in with our fluffy brush from before that actually had our transition shade on it, and I'm gonna diffuse out that light shade that we just applied. No matter what, we don't want harsh lines. I did get quite a few questions on my Instagram on what my favorite eyeshadow palette is, like of all time, I'm assuming. Before I answer that, we're gonna go in with a shimmer shade from this palette. Honestly, any gold shimmer works well, but we're gonna use our finger to apply. I'm gonna use the shade Amarette, and then I'm also gonna go with a little bit of this one here. I can't see the name. And I'm literally gonna pop it right where we just put all of that matte eyeshadow. Because I really wanted to pop, I didn't want to put it directly onto brown. I want to put it on a light base. Doing this can be tricky if you have nails like me. So once I get to the innermost corner, I will switch to a brush. So I'm just gonna go in with this little baby brush to help me out. Just like that, and I'm gonna bring it up to kind of create this like circular, soft crease. Yeah, someone asked me what my favorite eyeshadow palette was. It would have to be my Makeup by Mario Master Mats, just because it is such an easy palette to work with. You don't have to think that hard about the look you're going to create with it. But lately I've been really into cool tone makeup. The new Icy Nude palette from Huda Beauty is so good, and I think that cool tone eyeshadow just really pops on brown skin. Okay, we're almost done with the eyes, believe it or not. Now on a flat brush like this, I'm gonna take a really deep brown shade. I'm gonna use the same ColourPop palette, and there's this super chocolatey brown shade here. It's almost black, but not quite. And we're just gonna go right on our lash line. I like to use kind of a stamping motion, but we're just gonna repeat that until we build up some intensity. Okay, now for the most daunting part, eyeliner. This is such a make or break step for some people because eyeliner can be tricky, but I always go in with a felt tip liner like this. This is my favorite one from Clinique. And this is honestly an optional step. If you're not confident in your eyeliner skills, number one, just ask me for a tutorial, Buki. And number two, you can just use eyeshadow. So as you can see, I already have kind of created this nice little shadow where my eyeliner will be. You can stop there. But I'm annoying. Personally, I need eyeliners. But I will see you after because I have to go nonverbal for eyeliner. Okay, I'm back. The wing is done. The lashes are on. I have on the Yoni lashes in the shade Esmeralda. I literally got these at Dollar Tree because I never cared. Baddie on a budget. These are really good. They have so many styles. I have like a million packs of those. Now we're gonna do a lip combo. Now I'm gonna show you all the lip products. And remember, we listen and we don't remember, say what we listen and we don't judge. Yes, we're gonna use a million lip products, but we're aiming for maximum slay. I'm using the Supreme Hot Liner from Kosas. First lip liner shade, just because I don't like to go too dark or it'll look like you have a mustache. So there's that. And I honestly didn't really overline my top lip at all. That's where our second liner comes in. This is a much deeper shade. This is Fenty Beauty's Traced Out Liner. And I'm going to focus basically here, like on my Cupid's bow. Just a little there. And I just kind of blend it like a little bit. Now, we're gonna go in with the big dogs. These are the Anastasia Lip Velvets. I'm gonna go in first with the shade Brownie. As you can see, I applied it kind of on the outside, just under our lip liner, because we're gonna take our second shade, Peachy Nude, and I'm gonna put it on the center of my lip. Just like this. And this is how you create that nice ombre lip. We 100% are not done yet. Now it's time for lip gloss. I'm going in first with this brown shade from Huda Beauty. This is the shade She Fire. And I'm gonna put this right on top of the chocolate lip velvet. My last lip shade is this Anastasia lip gloss, but I have no idea what color this is because it's not on it. Honestly, any nude lip gloss will work. I'm gonna put that just right in the center. Okay, and this is my makeup all done. I am absolutely obsessed with this neutral holiday look. Hot chocolate, neutral holiday glam. I'm absolutely obsessed with every aspect of this look, but if anything is too much for you, the lip, the eyes, if it's too intense, please feel free to make this yours and make sure you tag me in your recreations. And if you made it to the end of this video, you know that I'm doing a nice little giveaway. and I'm making it super simple. I just want to give back and say thank you to everyone who has followed me across many platforms. If you guys didn't know, I started on TikTok, so I'm so grateful for anyone who is now watching me on YouTube, following me on Instagram, and that's all you really have to do to enter this giveaway. Subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram and TikTok, of course, and make sure you leave one comment on this YouTube video. You don't have to comment a bunch, just one comment. You can tag a friend, you can tell me what you want to see from me, honestly anything, or you can just say hi, Miss Girl. If you want to see what you're getting, you can check my Instagram. I'll be posting a little sneak peek of the giveaway boxes, but that's literally all you have to do. I'm not trying to make this a big, like, you gotta do the most to get a little box. I just want to say thank you, and it's the holiday season, okay? So like I said, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this look, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, Miss Girl.